Representative Lawler, thank you so much for making the time to talk to us. I want to start by asking, you've been involved with the Kosovan Albanian community here, and are a friend of Kosovo. What are the US-Kosovo relations as we speak?
Well, look, it's been very strong over 30 years, obviously, and continuing to build that relationship. Kosovo has been a great friend of the U.S. and certainly in terms of military needs in the Balkans and throughout the region. I think long term, obviously, having a strong U.S.-Kosovo relationship economically, having a strong relationship for Kosovo with respect to the EU and NATO long term is a positive step, and so that's something that we'll continue to work with them on over the coming years.
What are we to expect from the Trump administration when it comes to the Western Balkans and Kosovo? What will the policy look like?
Look, I think the administration obviously is very focused on immediately ending the conflict in Ukraine and getting more stability in Europe, in the region. Obviously, as you look at these global conflicts, the impact that it has on everyone, is a challenge. And I think obviously trying to work out a long-term peace between Kosovo and Serbia is paramount. I think that is certainly a priority for us in Congress, and I think the administration to address some of the challenges that persist. But to really, again, have a strong U.S. EU relationship, a strong U.S.-NATO relationship, and the Balkans can play a pivotal role moving forward. And so, I think establishing more peace and stability in the region long term is critical. Continuing to have U.S. military presence obviously is essential when it comes to some of the other challenges we're dealing with, inclusive of in the Middle East. And so, I think continuing to build upon that relationship. There's always going to be challenges along the way. And obviously, anytime you're dealing with foreign policy, there's multiple sides to the equation that you're trying to work through. But I think, in the immediate, finding a little bit more stability between Kosovo and Serbia is going to be important.
But will you continue to support a strong, independent, sovereign Kosovo? And will the new administration, is the final goal of Serbia to recognize Kosovo's independence?
Yeah, from my vantage point, yes. And that's why I've been a strong advocate for Kosovo. And I think obviously we'll continue to work through the challenges. There's elections taking place, obviously, and the people in Kosovo and Albania and Serbia are going to continue to work through specifically their leadership. But ultimately, the objective has to be to find a peaceful resolution to the challenges that persist.
You've met President Osmani just recently, I think this year. Not sure about your meetings with Prime Minister Kurti. What has been your relation with the heads of states of Kosovo, and what do you expect from them to do, let's say, in order for this Kosovo-U.S. relation to grow?
I've not met with the Prime Minister. I have met with the President, I think 3 times now in the last year. And we've had very good dialogue about the issues directly facing Kosovo, and certainly on the Kosovo-Serbian relationship, and frankly how supportive Kosovo has been both to the United States, but also on issues pertaining to Israel, for instance, and one of only a handful of Muslim majority nations that has actually adopted the IRA definition, for instance, with respect to anti-Semitism. So Kosovo has been a great friend and ally over many years, and I think, obviously, I know there's concern with respect to Serbia and some of the relationships that have occurred both over the Biden administration and the Trump administration, and how that may impact some of the discussions. But we've had very good dialogue, worked to help bridge relationships and introductions within the administration, and we'll continue to do that.
As you're aware, Prime Minister Kurti and the former government didn't have the best of relations with the US and with the Biden administration because of the ongoing unrest in the north of Kosovo, where the Serbian majority lives. He won the elections again. He won 40% and is expected, not sure yet, but is expected to create a new government. Are you ready? Is the Trump administration ready to work with him going forward?
Look, when the people speak in their elections, the objective is to honor that and recognize that and work together to bridge these divides. Obviously, as the conflict in Ukraine comes to an end, I think it'll be easier to focus on some of these other challenges in the region that obviously have created tension and strife, and the Balkans is an area where we certainly don't want to see conflicts erupt. We don't want to see, intransigence. So there has to be an effort, and I believe there will be, to really bring the differences to an end and come to a lasting agreement that really ensures peace and stability throughout.
But you will be ready to work with any government that is elected, be it the opposition, if they get the votes to create a new government?
Of course. Look, in each country, the people have the right to elect a government of their choosing, and that is the objective of the United States is not to determine that. The objective of the United States is to work with those that the people elect. So, of course, that is our responsibility. It's a two-way street, and it requires everybody coming to the table in good faith when you're trying to negotiate agreements and work through challenges. But that is our responsibility.
One of the biggest concerns over in Kosovo is the commitment of U.S. troops in Kosovo, having one of the biggest military bases in Bondsteel, South Kosovo there, and U.S. troops basically guarding Kosovo's borders with Serbia. Will U.S. commit to keep the troops there?
Look, I can't speak for the administration, obviously, but certainly from my vantage point, we should. I think it's important both from a standpoint of keeping stability in the region, but also obviously for other needs that the U.S. military has across Europe and the Middle East and North Africa. And so being able to have a presence there is certainly within our national security interest. And obviously I think it has been imperative to keep peace and stability in the region and help build that strong relationship with Kosovo.
We've talked about EU and NATO ambitions of Kosovo. Kosovo really wants to join NATO because it sees this as a sense of guarantee from the neighboring Serbia. Is there any, will U.S. help Kosovo get into NATO eventually?
Look, I think obviously NATO admittance requires consensus among NATO allies, and obviously there are some that have pushed back against that. I think as we work through these challenges in Europe in particular, and with respect to Russian aggression, expanding NATO is certainly something that I support. I think it's important. But obviously, being a member of NATO is not just being reliant on NATO for security guarantees, but participating in and being a member of and obviously investing in the shared defenses and the importance of it. So NATO obviously is a vital alliance for the United States, for Europe. I think the more folks that are willing to engage and want to be members, obviously I view that as a positive long term. So it's something that we're going to have to work through as these discussions continue.
Kosovo has been lucky to enjoy a bipartisan support for decades, basically. Do you see that continuing? We have Representative Torres also working with Kosovan Albanian community in the Foreign Affairs Committee as well. When it comes to Kosovo,
for sure. I think obviously we have a very vibrant Albanian and Kosovo community here in the United States, and especially in New York and the area. And certainly I've enjoyed strong relationships within our Albanian community here. And I think it should be a bipartisan issue and should continue as such.
Now, if I can ask a few questions, Western Balkans, other countries as well. Bosnia is a big flashing point right now with the Republika Srpska President Milorad Dodik basically working to secede from the federation with passing new laws. How do you see the situation? What's your sense and U.S. stance towards what's happening in Bosnia and Herzegovina?
Look, this is something that's going to have to play out in the coming months. I think as the administration gets its handle on the situation in the Balkans, we're going to have to really deal with the leadership within Bosnia and other parts, including Kosovo, to really bring about stability. The worst thing that could happen here is obviously for it to devolve into conflict or strife or lack of cooperation across the region. I think that will create a powder keg in the region. And so this is something that's going to have to be addressed through the administration in dealing with our allies in the Balkans and make sure that everybody is cooperating and working together.
Do you support a unitary state of Bosnia? Are you against Republika Srpska ceding from the federation itself?
Yeah, I think they should continue as is currently structured.
In Serbia, there has been anti-corruption, anti-government protests for months now because of a tragedy that killed 15 people there. How do you see Serbia is the only country to have not sanctioned Russia and is not aligned with the EU and US policies towards Ukraine? How do you see the developments?
Well, Serbia obviously has played a role in helping the US in this conflict and Europe with respect to ammunitions. Obviously they have had strong relations with Russia and throughout this conflict, this has certainly been a challenge that we have seen. You look at Europe writ large. Europe is trying to defend against the Russian invasion and yet at the same time purchasing Russian gas. So, look, there are significant challenges that we have to work through as we try to bring this conflict to an end. And certainly I think the importance is to really bring the temperature down and bring about peace and stability in the region and throughout Europe. And getting folks to the table to negotiate, to work together towards a positive resolution, and to address the challenges that have persisted for years now in certain quarters, including between Kosovo and Serbia.
So is this the policy of President Trump to end conflicts and open
I think the
conflicts?
president's been very clear that he does not like or support war or long-term conflicts and strife, and his objective is to negotiate and bring people to the table to work out agreements. I think he's made that very clear.
Mr. Richard Grenell was a special envoy for Kosovo Serbia in the first Trump administration. Now he has more work to do in other parts of the world, but do you see him being engaged in the region, or should there be a special envoy that would do Western Balkans?
Look, I think obviously Rick Grenell has a specific role in the administration and the White House, and he's certainly a trusted advisor of the president. Obviously, Secretary Rubio is going to be taking a lead role in U.S. foreign policy, and I think obviously the administration writ large, their objective is to bring these conflicts to an end and bring about more peace and stability and economic cooperation certainly with the U.S. And I think long term, obviously address the challenges between Kosovo and Serbia here. So, look, I think Ambassador Grenell certainly will have a voice in the process, but I think obviously there's other folks in this administration, including Mike Waltz and Marco Rubio, who have a big voice in the matter as well.
Are you willing to come to Kosovo to see the people there, or how much you've probably heard and been told how much U.S. is loved there with George W. Bush Street, a Bill Clinton statue as well?
Yeah, I'd love to visit Kosovo and the Balkans, generally. Serving as chair of the Middle East subcommittee, a lot of my focus will be on travel to the Middle East, but obviously would love to take the opportunity to be there. My wife is from Moldova. So I certainly have a great affinity for Eastern Europe writ large, and obviously we'll probably be doing some travel to that area as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.